The weekly check-in with Bill Bekunda. Sundays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Featuring real talk, real stories, real support. This is The Mind Matters on Stream UG Radio. Your life, your music.
Notes and noise.
Try to find peace in the bottle, long nights in the club, trying to stay out of trouble. On river alcohol, had to learn how to paddle. Lost a lot of friends, it's a war, not a battle. The loneliness double. Staring in the mirror and all I saw was demons. Trying to clear my head, stay focused on this feeling. Had to go through the seasons, God has his reasons. You gotta go blind to see the vision. Nothing lasts forever after darkest light. You gotta still believe that your future's bright. Reach for the stars, eyes on the prize. Keep hope alive, enjoy the ride.
Being alive is what it takes. I got this what I am. Believe in truth and life. Being alive is what it takes. I got this what I am. Believe in truth and life. Everything good once you pray hard, yeah. Shimani osobola kubanga osobola. Manya mutima gwe gukonekitinga kusanyulyo. Just work hard on you. Obulumi bute bulungi yamu ndabulamu bwo. Ojikiriza sola.
You gotta still believe that your future's bright. Reach for the stars, eyes on the prize. Keep hope alive, enjoy the ride.
Notes and noise.
Mind Matters, we are back this beautiful Sunday, 22nd of June 2025. It's good to be alive. It's also good to be a man. You see, for the longest time, everybody talks about the girl child. The girl child, the woman, rights, equality, and we never hear about men. And so for the last few maybe years, we've had some concerns and people are coming out asking, but what about the man? What about the man? What can we do about him? Because if you empower the girl child and you don't empower the boy child, you will train a woman to expect from men and you will not train the men to do anything or even to know what to do. And then we find that they are being sidelined, they are being ignored, they're expecting too much of them. It's a whole mess. So today we are going to talk about mental health and how it matters for men. The theme we are on today is Stronger Together, Building Resilience for Men's Mental Well-Being. And I am very delighted today to have guests. I do not introduce guests. I allow them to introduce themselves. Tell me who they are, what they do. Give me a bit of their story and ask them why are they interested in men's mental health. Because some men decide to ignore everything. And just like I used to be, instead of trying to do something about it, I would go to the bar. You know, every evening or every day. It started with occasional, visiting of the entertainment places to being actually living there, if I may call it. So I'm going to start with my first guest today. And he's here, right here in the studio with me. Very interesting gentleman. Very enthusiastic. He is a radio personality. He's a psychologist. He's, no, not radio, media personality. He looks like a sportsman. I see very, very fit. And he's also very interested in men's mental health. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, sir.
I see you here and I'm going to ask you the first question.
Yes, please.
Who are you?
I'm a father. I'm a Christian. I'm a mental health coach. Professionally, a psychologist. Occupationally, a therapist. But also have a background in information technology.
Okay.
Close to 15 years from UCU. I love mental health. My life has been an interesting, I like to call it an interesting movie.
Okay.
Because I've gone through highs, lows, miracles.
Yes.
Things men think other men don't experience, but they keep silent. Because some things, when you talk about them, you put in a certain category.
Yes.
But also, I love men.
Mm-hmm.
I love men because I think men are the luckiest being on this planet.
Okay, you're going to explain that?
Luckiest.
Yes.
The reason why I say men are the luckiest is our burdens are always mental.
Okay.
Not really psychological, not really emotional, just mental. Because the biggest part of a man is logic. What do I need to do to get there?
Okay.
Why am I in this situation? Which is also some sort of courteous problem-solving attitude. Because one thing we know about men is we give solutions, we provide solutions. But where do these solutions come from? Where do we derive this amplitude of solutions?
Yes.
That is where mental health comes in.
Okay.
You have to be mentally stable. You have to, one, know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Very many people don't know what that question means. Knowing
Yes.
who you are means you know you're positive, you know you're negative. You know what you can do, you know what you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you can accomplish, you know what you can't accomplish.
Yes.
But also because you know what you can accomplish, it singles out the most important aspects of your positivity. For example, I used to tell people when I was still a teenager, I knew I was fast.
You're
I
a
was
sprinter.
a very good runner. Yes, 100 meters
I knew
short,
it.
really.
I knew it. I saw you. Yes.
Put me on the line, even out of sleep, that I will do. So usually what happens, you don't dwell so much on that.
Yes.
And then you say, oh, I'm not very good at sciences. I know. So you put more effort into sciences.
Into science.
Yes.
Very big mistake, I think. Okay, please continue.
As a man.
Yes.
But the whole point of saying that is it talks about the biggest, should I say, advantage we have, which is self-awareness.
Yes.
When you're self-aware, you know your limits and you know your highs.
Yes.
Now, when you know your highs, I'm good at English, but I'm very bad at math. Logically, that tells you need to spend more time practicing math because
Yes.
English is almost a walkover. That doesn't mean you should put the English aside.
Okay.
It just means now you know if they've given you an option, okay, for you to go to the next class, there's a math test and an English test.
Yes.
Why would you choose the math test when you're very good at English?
Okay.
So that is the mentality of sometimes the mantle of a man. Things are logical. You either know or you don't know. If you don't know, acquire knowledge.
Yes.
Get around a circle of people who you believe you can learn from in that particular field. But also, when you're getting around that circle of people who you believe you can learn from, what are you giving them? Because learning literally means taking from.
Yes.
So if you're coming to learn because you have a deficit somewhere, what are you offering?
What are you offering?
Yes.
Okay. So we are going to go to your childhood.
Okay.
Because we are told that everything begins in childhood.
Yes.
Once we can't bend an old tree, there are all those sayings, but in our field, I think we are saying that you can bend an old tree, although you have to be a little bit more careful, and there are other methods to use apart from the physical method, which goes to the mental.
Yes.
How was your childhood, and how did it affect your growing up?
Well, one, my childhood was very adventurous.
Okay.
Yeah. I grew up in a Christian home with a very, very authoritarian father, but also a very, very loving mother. So I got the best of both worlds. Kindness on one side, harshness on the other side.
The other side, yes.
You know, love on one side and growing up to be strong on the other side.
Yes.
Tough on one side and very lenient on the other side.
Yes.
So why I say it was adventurous is because if you have both of best worlds,
yes,
you have your highs that are very challenging, some are hurting, and you have your highs that are very, 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 very not really challenging, but really, should I say difficult?
Yes.
You can say difficult, but also at the same time, you have laws that bring you out of that difficultness. So I would also like to say I was stubborn when I was a young guy. I was a very stubborn boy. I went through primary, once in a while I got some suspensions here and there. I got some chibokos here and there. Yeah, but I believe I had the best of both worlds. Diving into primary wasn't so much of a headache because you're young, and I did most of my primary life was athletic. I used to run, I used to do sports. I liked playing tennis, I liked playing badminton. I was a swimmer. What else? I loved societies. There's something in primary they used to call societies. They group you in these categories. It could be dance and drama, it could be instrumentals, it could be running, it could be swimming. So I was very engaging. Secondary, of course, adolescence kicks in. I had my moments.
Yes.
Where I stayed in dorm and I didn't go to class. I had my moments when you were caught in a crime and there was call your parent. But basically, I believe I had the best of both worlds. I can't really complain because you see that thing builds you. That kind of best of both worlds builds you.
Yes.
You have a father who's tough. His mantra is work hard, be disciplined. You have to pass sciences as much as you pass arts.
Yes.
No questions, no buts. If you're failing to achieve, you better have an answer. Otherwise, chiboko. But on the other side, you have a mother who's saying, today, if you don't feel like doing homework, rest.
Rest, okay.
What is the problem? Why is it that you're failing in this subject? Let's just talk about it. I don't need to call your teacher. I'm not going to tell your father. I just want us to have a conversation and just open up to me.
Okay.
So on one side, there's the tough hand. On the other side, there's the loving, gentle, lenient, which most people associate with mothering, spoon feeding and spoiling, which is sometimes a natural factor because mothers are like that.
Yes.
But on the other side, fathers are tough. I also think why I say it builds me is because you get to understand that that's the version of a female parent. And this is a version of a male parent. No excuses. Get to the deadline, commit, and if you commit, you have to deliver.
Yes.
But I would say it was my childhood was exciting.
Okay. I also could say that I had a similar childhood. I think parents across the board do the same thing more or less, depending on the culture. Mzee was tough.
Yeah.
Chiboko was chiboko. But my mom was also tough. Yes, my mom, she was very sweet. She's the kindest woman on earth, but she was also very tough.
Yeah.
And I would say I got equally as many beatings from her as I did from my father. But of course, you could feel the love, you
Yes.
know. And I remember that one thing that I would always do is I would take a shield behind my mother
Same.
if I was in trouble with my father,
Same
or
story.
if I was in even any other trouble.
Yes.
And because now I was leaning towards my mother,
Yeah.
I remember getting animosity towards my father.
Same story.
You see, and I still ask myself,
Yeah.
but why? What can a man do?
Yes.
Because it's like the man is the villain,
Yes.
but he needs to exert that authority.
Yes.
And we have also seen that when children grow,
Yes.
I heard this somewhere and I was still reading about it,
Yes.
the children take care of the mother
Yes.
more than they do the father.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
This is the dynamics of a family. Usually the father is supposed to be the tough disciplinarian,
Yes.
and the mother is supposed to be the lighter tone. But it's on the onus. As the children grow, they learn the purpose and the character of their father. For example, me when I was growing up, I said that my father is tough.
Yes.
I've never received a hug from my father. He has never said, I love you,
Love
Ronnie.
you, anything.
You know? Yeah, oh my God, you've excelled. Today you have done it.
Yes.
No, I never received those things. So I said, this I should have gotten another kind of father. This is not the kind of father I read in the books, I read in the novels. But as you grow,
Yes.
you realize they are developing a certain masculine mantle in you. You get to learn that the world is like that. You're not going to go everywhere and be loved.
Yes.
You're not going to get your cake and eat it. Once in a while, your boss will say, I don't like the way you deliver. And then there'll be an HR who's saying, I think you just need to put in more energy.
Yes.
So when you look at those dynamics, they build you. You're not going to reach somewhere and they say, you haven't delivered this month and I think I'm going to cut your benefits.
Yes.
And then you say it's unfair. You haven't delivered.
Yes.
It's a man's mantle of life. You haven't delivered. There's some sort of repercussion.
Yes.
But also you'll understand when you have a boss who's female who says, you haven't delivered, but today let's let you slide for the 7th time. That gives you the notion that, yeah, they're letting you slide, but you know, you haven't delivered. And if they continue letting you slide, you're most likely never going to deliver.
Yes.
So it creates a balance, which is very hard to understand when you are a child.
Yes.
Very, very hard. I'm a father right now.
Yes.
But I remember when I used to talk to my wife and tell them, "Ngenda kuba sabula, these boys are joking. I'm
kids.
going to kusabula them."
Yeah.
Me, they kusabulad me and I turned out right. Then she said, "Ronnie, that's not the way to go. Things have changed."
Yes.
And I would like to be honest, it was a hard pill to swallow. Why? Because I was saying, that means our times were unfair.
Why were we beaten and now we can't touch?
Right?
Yes.
That means our times were unfair. These children have it all.
Yes.
But they also have an atmosphere that we didn't have. Today it is talk, reason with the child, even when you don't want to.
Even when you don't want to.
Because the child will tell you, but daddy, you told me the other time to remove my shoes. How comes for you, you're not removing your shoes?
Stay right there. We'll be straight back right after these.
Are you a creative, songwriter, musician, film producer, or an enthusiast? Well, Notes and Noise has all the requirements and services that you need, like music production, sound mixing and editing, jingle.
Okay. We are still with Ronnie Rhymes, the young athlete. He's still a young man, actually. I didn't ask your age because I think since there are women and men's rights, equal rights, I don't know. We will not mention our ages. But it is a pleasure. It is a pleasure to be here with Ronnie Rhymes. Thank you for the introduction.
You're very
giving
welcome.
us a bit of background from your childhood.
Yes.
Now we have the next guest.
Yes.
Very interesting man with a fantastic voice. He's I don't even know how to say. He's a DJ. Are you also a DJ?
No, I'm not a DJ.
But he's an MC.
Sir.
He is I think
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. You know, I think you can hear the voice he has entered. And we are really, really happy and excited to have
so
you
much.
here.
Yeah.
Mwalimu. We call him Mwalimu.
Yeah.
I said earlier that I don't introduce guests. They introduce themselves. So please, who are you?
Fantastic. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for listening in to Stream UG Radio. This is amazing. Happy to be here this Sunday morning. My name is Martin Amanya, aka Mwalimu. Mwalimu is a teacher of Kiswahili. He's a counseling psychologist. He's a mental and an events MC. Simply about me, that's what I mean.
Events MC.
Yes.
How did you become an MC?
Bro, we started from campus times, serving a church. Then whenever there's an event, they say, man, can you be able to moderate this event? And I'm like, why not? Why?
Yes.
I'm available. So slowly by slowly, it started picking up. People see your skills and potential.
Yes.
Even when for you at the moment, you're not seeing it as a big deal.
Definitely.
And as life evolves, you start realizing actually something that you can harness and straighten up, professionalize, and start earning bread from it. And this is now about over 8 years.
Yes.
It started as a thing you're doing for friends around church. It went to where they were giving 50K for a meal. Then later it went to 300K. Then now it's 2.5 and going up.
Wow. So you're a rich man. What have you brought for us?
You should not come for me.
Some things are not taxable.
Happy to be with you here, gentlemen.
Yes.
On this fantastic Sunday morning.
Ronnie Rhymes has already told us a bit about his childhood because we are trying to build up to the boy child and girl child. And the last thing we were talking about, as you heard, was that you find that fathers in their later ages are not as well taken care of the mothers. But that's not what you're going to answer right now.
Oh man, I've read many articles about that and I'm like, why?
Yes, and you're going to answer that. So, first and foremost, we want to know about your childhood and how because your childhood is what has led you to become who you are.
A lot of experiences from there have shaped the man I've become.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How was your childhood?
Thank you so much. This is rarely do I get asked this question.
Yes, it's time.
Long time.
This is Mind Matters now.
So, I grew up in Kanungu. Born in a family of 6. The last born, yet not the last born in a sense because my dad later remarried.
Okay.
I have younger siblings of mine, 5 of them. But I lost my mom when I was... she died in 90, I was born 89.
Okay.
So I spent a few months. I don't know who she is exactly. We didn't get to touch base, but I see pictures with a lady with an afro where they say this was your mom.
Okay.
Her soul rest in eternal peace. Mrs. Faith Tukahirwa.
Yes.
I made a name Faith. No. Fabith Ann.
Fabith
Choksima.
Okay.
So then around that time, it became now a roller coaster. I was sent to my grandmother, who I love so much. She passed on. She looked forward to seeing my wife.
Okay.
But maybe in heaven.
In heaven, yeah.
Yeah. I grew up there. Then later I moved to Rukunjiri, where my dad is born, ancestrally. Stayed with aunties until we went back to Kanunga, I think, when I was around, between maybe 7-10. Picked up primary school. Growing up, we were raised in a home with very many kids.
Okay.
Later, most of my uncles passed on. And dad, being a very generous man, a humble man, he would call all these guys in. At home was like a school. And this is it about Africanity, about fatherhood. And when I was talking to some men about these DNA things and the change of... In Africa, if there's enough food for all of you, there's enough clothing, and you know what clothing is. If the bigger brother is done with the thing, he gives it to you, the younger brother pick it up.
Yes.
If there's enough place to sleep, and sleeping is not everybody should have a mattress of their own. There's a mat, and all of you guys can roll there. We grew up in that setting. I was not saying these are my children, these are my children. We were all taken care of. And I remember Dad one time told me, actually, you can have all these people and you have enough for them, but you could be just a few of you, and even you yourselves, you don't have what's enough for you.
Yes.
I later would hear that statement from my cousin brother, who is in Kampala, who all of us would come to when we would be joining campus. And I'm like, I think that's where I've gotten the spirit of love and generosity of being other-centered than only thinking about myself and, what I should do to impress or to become a hard guy and a hero person out there, but to live humbly, because I've learned over time that the most satisfying life is life lived for others. Life lived for others. Yes. That's very important. Yes. That was a difficult childhood, you know? Yeah. What I didn't mention, actually, that speaks to what you've said, was when we went back is when Dad remarried and we grew up with our stepmom. That was really hard. Chiboko, my brothers would be being blamed for everything. They would be beaten. I wouldn't be beaten sometimes because I was young, but I would think about myself, like, is my mom to kill these guys? And it would be like blaming them, victimizing them for something. No. Blaming them and projecting something on them and beating them up. Okay. Then we grew up with a bit of rift now with her children and us. Some of us who had grown, going to some schools for secondary. But Dad with the struggles, like keeping these young ones in these traditional schools, but she feels like they should be in the same schools because not counting the cost of like, okay, these are a bit older. University or higher institution cannot cost the same as primary, but this primary at this level can build a foundation. Okay. So that, and I got a lot of hatred for her. I reached a time when I was finishing my around Form 6, I said I am going to work so hard, and for this one reason. Yes. I'll make my dad happy. Actually, there was a song of Chameleon that says, Tupatikanila kuba bulunji. So I would fit in my dad's name and say, that's all I want to live for. Be well and take care of my dad, this woman here. But later, as we continue the story, I'll tell you how life changed when I became a Christian. Went through a difficult moment of forgiveness, really crying and saying, this is my mom, actually. Okay. God brought this woman at a time when we were helpless, and she's contributed lots of things with her to your life, struggles and weaknesses, but I need to value her. I need to appreciate her contribution. So should we say that was one of the major reasons as to why now you are advocating for men's mental health very strongly? Yes. The inspiration was so much about, generally, like about people who do not have people to take care of them. Okay. That has moved my heart to even find kids whenever I would go for capacity building trainings in random places in the country to say, why don't you go to school? What's the problem? Yes. And you find the child is not going to school and there's a nearby traditional school or government school where the fees is like 200K. Or just they need like 40K for beans and posho. And they're saying, I think I can be able maybe to pay for a university student for 2 million, but I can be able to contribute to make a good lifestyle and help this child afford education. So from that to now thinking about men and looking at where I've come from, nobody talks about men. Nobody talks about men. We're meant to figure it out. And men also don't talk about men. Yes. For we now have accepted the lie that actually we know. What's wrong with that? Let me turn to Ronnie to finish on that. Yeah. What is wrong with us? Why don't men talk to men? I know when we sit, like since we came in, I haven't asked even how is home. Right. But we have talked. Yes. Why? Somehow we made it here. And yet we are the mental health advocates.
I think our childhoods were built on focusing on work and not emotions. Yeah. Like I told you. Yes, provision. I went to secondary school. And there was a time after prep Saturday, you chill with the guys. Some guys are playing soccer. And you talk to people, and people are telling you, my father, when my father was dropping me here at home, at school, he said, I love you. Study well. Then for you say, your father comes from which country? I love you. I love you. Not even saying that, even witnessing someone's father hugging them, and you're like, you guys, these fathers, strange. Where do they come from? Which planet do these guys come from? Do these guys have blue blood? But then because of the system that you have grown in, me, the first time I was honest to my father. We were going back, Kampala parents, and they used to give us books to read. You sign in the library, you take the book, holiday, you bring it back. I lost the book. I was stubborn. I was a stubborn guy.
That was the first
I was all about life. Then I said, if we go back to school and they tell this man, your boy hasn't brought the book, he's going to kill me. I remember it was morning. We were on the dining.
Yeah.
We're eating breakfast. So tears just start flowing.
Sweating under the tongue.
I'm sweating. I don't know how to say it. So the guy says, even the way he said, what's the problem?
Yeah. The tone of the voice.
Out of fear, I told him I don't have the book. He said, which book? I stammered to tell him it was a hymn book. It was a library book. Library books? You're supposed to be serious. They blamed me. Nothing like, okay, I think we shall do this, this and this. So because of that fear, even when you open up about something and you're expecting your father to say, oh, you lost the book. What book was it? How much does it cost? Should we go to a restock and maybe look for the book and understand how much? Or maybe when we go to school, you won't go through the burden of explaining that you lost a book. The guy scolded me, told me how unserious I am. You've been here for 2 weeks holiday and you already lost a book. You're always in trouble. Oh my God. From that day I said never. The next time I get a problem, I have to figure it out.
Okay.
The next time I get into holiday and I'm given a book, a week into the holiday, I have to make sure my book is there because I don't want that to repeat again. So because of that kind of growing up and system, it's not that you don't want to talk, but you have built a mantra of managing the situation.
Yes.
And when the situation fails, you say that one has failed.
Yes.
I don't think I can be helped. But with constant, because in psychology, this is reconditioning.
Yes.
You have to recondition your brain. I've given you a scenario of my home. I was telling my wife, I'm going to cane these boys, they don't know. I'm going to cane them and make them men. She said, Ronnie, you're in a different era.
Yes, different generation.
You're in a different generation.
But did it work?
I said, did it work? I'd started caning my boy, slapping him. He started growing away from me. Now, hadn't we been in an era where we talk, communicate, and understand, trust, and also once in a while say, I want to listen to my wife.
Yes.
I just said, this Chiboko things, I'm just going to now talk. When he does something wrong, I put it out. Once in a while, you raise your voice, but even that is as traumatic as Chiboko. You understand? But I'm trying to say, you see the reconditioning? Because me, I came in with this mindset of me, they caned me, I was stubborn, and I look at my boy, he looks like me, I say, this one is going to give me a headache. So already I'm conditioned to repeat what my father did. But I've now forgotten what I went through when my father did what he did. Because you start questioning, is this my father? Does he love me? The Mwalimos, they don't cane them. Me, they cane me. The other one, they give him a hug. They bring him milk. You're saying there's no money for milk. It looks like you don't love, but you're building a certain type of character in that child. As well as the other one is also building a certain type of character. That does not mean the character you have built in this child can't be reconditioned. Because you can go to work with that kind of attitude and they call you in HR's office, they say, man, here the way we do things, we don't bark, guys. We don't fight. But for you, that's how you are conditioned.
So basically, we don't talk because they silenced us.
They silenced us, and there's also a conditioning of fear of disappointment. I've given him my story.
Yes.
I lost a book. I expected my dad to help me. I was blamed. So you don't want that to reoccur. You're here talking with Mwalimu, you tell him, I have issues with my marriage, and says, enough for you, I saw you from a long time ago. Because you're used to that and you don't think it can change, and you don't even have the mental capacity to say, no, Mwalimu, I'm telling you this is a serious thing. Don't treat it like that. Because sometimes that's all you need to say. And your fellow man will say, hey, you mean things are serious, so tell me about it. Haven't you overcome?
Yes. So those basically we say, those are the cultural expectations.
Yeah.
I think there's more.
Yes.
There's more that we can delve into. The African setting is that a man is thought about to be a hunter, a hero, a dangerous thing to be around.
But I would argue that it is true. You have muscles.
That's where I'm coming. So with all those expectations, you are expected to be at it all the time.
Yeah.
What we miss in that is that is our bread and butter when it's happening that way. But even lions get wounded. Even the strongest man.
Very important.
They break down. But then now the challenge comes is that we don't have a space where that is acknowledged as strength.
Yes.
When you try to talk to someone to process that with them, they will think we are weak. They will think you are weak. And it's strange that even a fellow man, because probably we'll get into it later, that instead of presenting for a space of confidentiality, of trust, of emotional safety, they are the ones who will be shutting you down. So some of those cultural stereotypes and things about like a man should be strong, man up, big boys don't cry. These things, we grew up. Have you ever seen your father break down?
Yes.
Did you ever see him, and did he ever share with you the way he would deal with what he would be going through? But you see a man who is somber, seated, listening to radio. Sometimes he wants to be alone, nobody around them, but you can't even come any close. And, so that conundrum of all that, we are here now trying to figure out. All of a sudden we become fathers. Nobody prepared us on how to parent. Nobody prepared us on how to, even when you go back to the real question of actually who is a man?
Yes.
What is true masculinity? Those things have now over time been mixed with a lot of things that actually everybody has a definition of what a man is, of what their roles are, of what their responsibilities are, of how they should deal with the struggles they go through internally and externally, their view of vulnerability, whether it's the strength or weakness, and all these things. So they meet at a point when we are in some difficult situations, we're desperate, we don't know what to do, trying to harmonize truly who we are, because at the very basic we are human.
Yes.
And any human is bound to failures or limitations.
Yes.
I was coming out here, I woke up just prepared to come here, but anything could happen on the road. You can't say because I'm a man, it doesn't happen. True. If you get there and there's a jam, I mean, it's as simple as that.
I mean, I've had that question before. But you're a man. A man,
Couldn't you find your way out of jam?
The president was passing and everything was blocked. What do you mean I'm a man?
Park the car and get on a board and come.
Yes. And you see, but I want to ask as you continue there, because still there needs to be a balance.
Yeah.
By nature, God created us to have to be a strong man.
About that.
Yeah.
So we need to also consider that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So clarity with that will come with understanding first who a man is.
Okay.
And I think I love to bring it from the biblical worldview, where we get everything we get later that we put into trying to sanitize society. A man and a woman, it's clear that they were created in the image of God.
Yes.
They are equal at the level of dignity, humanity, and status. Those three stances. But in terms of roles, they are different. A man has been given a role as a leader. A man has been given a role as a head.
Yes.
A man has been given a role of later what we start bringing in about in a family setting maybe. But even as brothers or elders or whatever, we are always destined for that of protecting, of providing, of trying to make sure the safety, because when you go to the African setting, I mean, boys were known for this one thing, able-bodied boys, they were to protect the society. They were to hunt game and bring home for eating. So that is what we know of what a man is. So we have the cultural perspective, we have the godly perspective, foundation of who a man is, where did a man come from? Because if you don't know your origin, then you're not going to know the essence of morality and how things are meant to be moving. Later on, the meaning of life and then destiny. So we begin there by defining a man. That's where we come from to define masculinity. That much as there are these things about roles and whatever, a man again cannot be reduced to provision. You see, a man cannot be reduced to, there is a way in which these things are done, and then we get into conversations of later when you find people struggling that, this is a man now, should be defined by provision or whatever in the community. But there's much more to what makes a man than just providing. What makes a father?
Absolutely.
What makes a man in
Definitely.
than just rotating about that. Because look at how things change in the world. Culture and environment, the evolving things. One day I have a job, we're getting married. If your hopes are all on the job that I have, that I can be able to provide, what about when I lose that job? Am I less of a man? Am I less of a father to those children? Then how do we handle that? That also a man himself doesn't feel threatened because he doesn't. Because those are things that cause our mental health problems. Because when a man loses a job, he's a different man at home.
Oh yes, when you come home stressed, there is the usual question.
Yes.
why does a man, what are men hiding whenever they reach home, they first sit in the car for 10 minutes or 20? Are they talking to somebody? Are they... Please, Ronnie, can you explain that?
You do it anyway.
Let me tell you. I created a system in my home where we try to be emotionally vulnerable.
Okay.
Because I realized you can die in the car over not buying bread, and you think that is going to be the end of your life, but because of fear. Because they're going to tell you, even yesterday you didn't buy the bread, this happened, even the other time you didn't complete this. So because of that fear, you hold on to it, you stay in the car, it gets worse. The trauma is worse. In psychology, they talk about trust. I believe sometimes why men are like this, our trust is broken early, at a very young age, by some of our fathers or father figures, or sometimes even our mothers. You're not enough. You need to do better. There are no accolades. There are no positive sayings that go to you. So because of that constant, hammering, you develop trust issues. I'm going to tell this person that I didn't manage to buy bread today, and they're going to say you're worthless. But you're not worthless. Or they're going to be angry about something and bring it up in an argument. But that doesn't mean they don't love you. But because we haven't built a trust recovery system to understand that was when I was growing up. Sometimes people are in an emotional bind and they are lashing out, not even because of you.
Yes.
Maybe her herself, she has burnt the food and you haven't come with bread, so there's nothing to eat. So she's also frustrated.
Yes.
But because we haven't understood how to build trust. Because if I build trust with you, Mwalimu, and tomorrow you abuse me, it doesn't mean our trust is gone. It just means I need to find out why you abused me, why we have this. Maybe it's on your end. Maybe you're having a hard day. Maybe you've trusted me for the fourth time and I've broken that trust. And you need to come and say, Ronnie, I gave you this gig. I told you the other day, you're always coming late. What's the problem? It doesn't mean I have a problem. It doesn't mean the trust issues should increase. It just means I need to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and but you see, we also have the problem that where do men begin to understand this from?
So I was thinking also to maybe add on what thank you, Ronnie, and Ronnie took it back to our formation.
Yes.
But I think I want to broaden it because we are here because we're talking about stronger together.
Yes.
Yes.
Helping men build support systems that help them to increase their mental health resilience.
Yes.
There's a lot that goes on through the day.
Yes.
And a man gets home, he's seated in the car.
Yes.
We do not know how to process or express emotions.
Yes.
And he's probably trying to think and run through the day what has been happening to where he is. Things that went well, things that didn't go well. Now, many at times, there are things that have not gone well, but the thing I am bringing here on table, helping you see how we've built this conversation from how we are conditioned and the expectations put on us as men. Without the other part of thinking, how do these men also, do they need help? Do they need support? So a man is thinking, I am going to show up, but there are things in the background. Maybe he's been sustaining his family on a loan. He's purchasing a property or whatever that is, they're telling him his job is at stake. Or else he has a sick parent. Or else, and some of the problems, we are the ones who get ourselves into these problems. You took on a side chick, and the side chick has broken your heart. And then he's imagining he has to show up inside the house when he's smiling, when he's going to open his hands and his children hug him. He's going to have to put up a face that will show the wife that it is all okay. So the man first pauses in the car. You have to do like a system reset.
Okay.
You've come from this place when everything is not working. You know yourself, you need help, but you're entering a place when you are the beacon of hope, where everything is you are looked at as a perfect person. If anything goes wrong, you are conditioned to think everything at this home is at stake. Now, I'm not saying that men go and lay themselves down and there's expectation. We are supposed to learn how to manage that. When we get ourselves in an emotional stable place, then we are able to live authentically.
Yes.
And even when we have weaknesses, we know that to admit them is not to be weak, but actually it's to be strong and have grown in self-awareness, so that we learn to inculcate that into our wives. Trust is built that way when we are authentic. Even our children, and they learn to know that even us, we are human. But now when we have to maintain that two multiple personalities of, you are something out here, you have something sitting on you, but you want to present as though everything is okay. Now that's where you find men staying in the car. Like I mentioned something jokingly, by the way, but this is real with men. There are men who are struggling because they are running multiple relationships.
Yeah, that's
you have
true.
a wife and children, but if you added the side chick, you're struggling to pay rent for them, fuel their car, and you are now they have sent you some romantic chats. Maybe also you are from even visiting her and having game.
Let me play the, what do they call it, the devil's advocate, when you say that, but it is the woman who chases me away from home, because what we started with at the beginning is everyone has emphasized on the girl child forever. So they have taught women what to do and the men not to. So can we not say, because you enter the house, the woman starts shouting, like for instance, you haven't brought bread, that is one thing. The second is, there are also those men who don't have financial problems and to do, but they still seem to carry the same habits. And the question is, why? I don't know who will go first on that.
Please, Ronnie, if you want to go first.
You know, in the entirety of that question, one thing stands out. Communication.
Yeah.
Whether you're earning, whether you're not earning, the fact that you're staying in the car, there's a negative emotion that's making you stay in the car.
Uncommunicated
feelings. So when we go back to the mantra of human society, it's communication.
Okay.
There's a book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus.
Yes.
I don't go into the details, but it implies and explicitly shows that men and women communicate differently. So, the onus is on us. How do we communicate? For us, usually it is logic. You haven't come back with bread. Things are hard. That might be different. You haven't come back with bread, baby, forgive me. Things, you know, that approach is different from a man. Logically, you've seen I haven't come back with bread, and you're asking me I haven't come back with bread.
And the ones who have the money, it is like you let me do everything.
The ones who have the money say, Hamo is coming back with bread, it gets finished in a day. I went to another guy's house, bread lasts 3 days. But then he also, my household is draining me. These guys don't know how to live on a budget. But he hasn't communicated. So even the woman is saying this chick guy.
Okay.
I think for me what I can say is, you see, Bill, about men's well-being and their mental health, it's not just about money.
Yes.
Men have a lot of things they struggle with. And what keeps us in the car is actually the reason. The thing mainly is that we do not have a person actually we can talk to this about, regardless of how much money we have.
Yes.
If people can be having an illness, a terminal illness, maybe cancer or diabetes or however much money they have.
Yes.
Nobody, I think God has kept this to us, that no, death never gets normal. That you're saying like, man, even if I die today because I've made enough money. No, that's not the end goal. The man, however much money he has, if he has a good relationship, maybe with his wife and children, is asking themselves, if I die today, his children are so young, who is going to father them? Who is going to show them the kind of love that I've been showing them? And my children even able to be part of it. But what about my wife? And some of these genuine fears are there, by the way. Even men don't trust their wives, and some way women don't trust their husbands. He's saying, what if I die and actually this woman, maybe if she's running any other relationships out there, goes, sells this property and also abandons his children? Or if it is, we're talking about men, but there are a lot of things. And these things, they cause problems in eating. They cause... This is what actually heightens the anxieties and the challenges that get the men depressed and get into these mental health problems we are talking about. So the man is seated in the car thinking, maybe there's a business that has gone, even if it's to deal, there's a business that has not gone right. Some guys have fleeced him.
Yes.
It's when
they're after him.
Yeah.
When you rich thieves after him.
When rich people make losses, they make big losses because they make big risks. When yet to a person who doesn't have a lot of money, maybe is asking themselves, where am I going to get money to feed these children and my wife the next day?
True.
So there are a lot of things. Men at different levels go through different things, but what harmonizes it, we reconcile it at the fact that the training that we've gotten growing up, the cultural dispensation, where we stand as Africans, we have challenges expressing our emotions.
Yep.
We suppress them, we bottle them up, and let me tell you, when you bottle these things up, it reaches a time
You explode.
when they talk back to us. And when they talk back to us, they never whisper. That's why you see them
Very
getting-
important. And the way you have spoken like you're
Right.
singing a song, Mr.
Right.
But that now takes us even to a specific
So
question.
we bottle up problems, it won't last forever. These problems will get to a time when we can't bottle them up anymore. They will talk back to us, and when they talk back to us,
Yes.
it is never a whisper.
To these specific questions. What are those specific signs? Because you've been mentioning all these things that men should look out for to recognize mental distress.
Yes.
In men.
Yeah. Ronnie, please.
One, when your fellow man starts to regress, he has been calling you at least every week. It's been 2 months he hasn't made a call. There's a question mark.
Maybe you don't even seen him.
Maybe. Thank you very much.
Yes.
There's a question mark. Making a call may be different, but you see him on a social media group. You see he's interacting. It's normal behavior. In mental health, they say when it becomes negative when you start to deviate from the normal behavior.
Okay.
Who is Ronnie? Jolly guy, greets everyone. The Ronnie 2 months ago doesn't greet, dresses badly. He's no longer physical.
Care about that.
Doesn't care. There's something wrong. 2, how he projects himself.
Okay.
He says you're his good friend, but he doesn't tell you the truth. There's something wrong. Either you have a problem or he has a problem. Or he has decided to zone you out. Bekunda now is no longer in my inner circle. I no longer need to tell him
Yes.
anything. Which is more reason for you to approach the person. Signs of worry. He's always upset. You give him a small joke. Today, mwalimu, you've overcut that hair. It's like you have a helicopter. What?
There's a joke in Kenya that now it is unlawful. Actually, it's criminal to mention a man with a kipara. I said, that man with a bald head.
Yes.
It's criminal.
Wisdom.
Yes.
Then someone acts so. Ronnie, I like it when you talk about my hair.
Yeah.
That's a simple way of telling. Sorry, mwalimu. I was just trying to make a joke.
You've taken the joke too far.
But if someone says, "What do you want from me?"
Yeah.
What do you want from me at this juncture?
Yeah,
I haven't even had breakfast and you're,
Yeah.
I just talked about
Yeah.
the Kaheli part.
Mood
Okay.
swings.
No. You need to take me out of your life. You need that shows the
irritability.
person has surpassed the normal. What you would expect is, hey, go slow today. I haven't had breakfast. That's someone you can understand.
Yes.
But if someone says you're attacking my life, I feel like you're always against me, it means there's something underlying that's a problem. The other thing,
So Ronnie, that's irritability and anger.
yes.
Man has become.
Yes. Stress. Let me tell you, Mwalimu,
Yeah.
you're my friend.
Yeah.
I've known you for a couple of times.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take me an hour to realize that you're in a stressful.
Something's wrong with
Yes. If you have the ability to do that, it means that's a close person to you and you need to effect communication. If I can be with you for an hour and I still can't tell that you have some issues, that's not your inner circle. Those are not people who care about you. Because some of these things, they're on your face. They look. Guys who love me, who know me, they know me when I'm a jolly guy. My eyes are wide open. I'm cracking jokes. You can tell in the first hour that Ronnie, there's something wrong. Ronnie is a little bit depressed. But you say, today you're not yourself.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. It happens at home. I can't lie to my wife when I'm not feeling good. Even when I've not taken the medicine and I tell her I've taken it, she knows.
Yes.
What does that tell you? Those are people you need to keep close. I have a few friends. My best man, I give him a call. By my tone, he actually told me this, I think 4 months ago. I can tell from your tone that
That's-
you need me to come.
That's a real
You need
call.
us to go out. You need us to. So those are people you need to keep closer. And also, That's some sort of reverse trigger where you understand that Bekunda is my friend. At worst, if I'm dying, I need to just give him a call. I tell him, Bekunda, Chiribubi.
Yeah.
He'll say, come over. Now, those are people you get close to. Those are people you give more time.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you disregard the rest, but even for you to have people like that in your life, the main problem why people don't have such people, they're not open.
Yes.
Let me tell you, if you want someone to greet you, what do? You greet them first. You do the deed before they do it to you so that they can understand that, hey, Ronnie is a cool guy.
That's the language. You do the deed.
You do the deed, yes. You do the deed. Because now I'll understand, hey, this Bekunda guy, I thought he's a difficult man, but the guy said, good morning, have you had something? Let's go in the studio. Say, oh, so that means I can, on a cold day, I can wake up and say, Bekunda, things are tight. But if I say, Mwalimu, good morning, and you just look at me like this, it's a sign. Maybe he has an issue with you, or maybe your approach has been bad, or maybe that day Mwalimu was going through some stressful stuff.
Yes.
Wait the next day and do the deed again.
Yet there's something about the men, I think, that I'm going to chip in.
Yes.
Because of our training and our setup and how we've grown up, thought about.
Yes.
Let me break it down that actually men can go on to lie, and I think as we continue this conversation, we are going to get to a place where we say, guys, we need to know what real questions to ask men, how to greet men.
Yes.
How are you really doing? Not just how are you? Fine. How are you? It's okay.
Thank you.
We want to get to that place because men, we don't express ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't talk that much. So even these things, sometimes even when it's not presenting, because sometimes an internal struggle that's not clearly presenting on the outside,
Yes.
and a man will just say in passing that it's okay, I'm okay, I've got this.
True, very true.
We work through this. Yet actually the real man inside there is breaking. So maybe let me just add on to the signs and symptoms. Some of these are general mental health problems, signs.